Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is an unexpected day 8 for this class, which is Reprogram Your Mind. So we've had a whole week of content and material planned out, and I wasn't planning on having another class today, having another live, which is why this is about an hour later than they have been running all week. So this comes about because we had so many great questions yesterday on the Q&A, and I was just on a roll answering all of those questions. I didn't get to summarize some of the content that I wanted to. Usually I have maybe a half hour of questions, and then I've got a half an hour of closing content for this entire class. But there was so much that I wanted to share that I decided, why not have an extra day? Because I can do those things because I'm the one that's in charge. So welcome to, like I said, an unexpected day 8 where we are talking about the laws of attraction. So if you are just now coming on, you might have this workbook, you might not. I don't have any material, and so everybody that's catching this replay or coming on that's been a part of this class, I don't have any material in the workbook that covers what I'm going to teach today. So just tune in and ask your questions. If you have any questions, please go ahead and submit them to the QA box on TikTok, or submit them. We're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. Please go ahead and submit them wherever you're at, and I will see them. So I want to get right into it and talk about why I feel like the law of attraction is first off, it's a poorly marketed concept, which sounds like hippie woo-woo nonsense, but it's also probably the most important piece of spiritual knowledge that you or anybody else can have, because it not only provides answers to why things are the way they are, it provides solutions for how to make things better. And I think the biggest thing that most of us are stuck at, or most people are stuck at in life, is they're kind of waiting for the world to change. They want the system to change. People want their relationship with their boss to change. People want things to change in life, but they want that outside world to be changing. Most people aren't aware that they need to be changing things themselves, or even know how to. And so for example, the comment here on TikTok, law of attraction is just another version of capitalism. You're completely wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about. That's how it's been marketed. People have been talking about it in the wrong way. They're not talking about really what the law of attraction is. And this is why I've titled this lesson, The Laws of Attraction. The law of attraction isn't a thing. It's a way to generalize or label how the universe works. There are universal laws at the back of the law of attraction. And most people don't understand them and understand how it works. Natural law isn't an economic system. It's not about capitalism. That has nothing to do with it. Capitalism is a man-made thing. The laws of the universe are natural. And so I want to discuss what those are. But when people are looking for the outside things to change, like, for example, to change the system and the economy, then, hey, you have no idea how change happens. Things only change when we change from the inside out. Things only change when we change from the inside out. You have to be the change in your life to make anything happen. Now, that might sound capitalistic as well, but it's really not. There's a lot of things in life that reflects and distorts natural truth. And so the whole focus maybe on a capitalistic society is pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about spirituality. And in the oldest of faiths and religions, spirituality is meant to be an internal change, not an external change. There's been this disagreement forever. The whole Old Testament and New Testament is all about external change versus internal change. New Testament is all about internal change in a person's heart. Old Testament's all about external change. And that's a gross exaggeration and understatement as well. But that's a lot of those differences that we have. Most of us don't know how to change ourselves. Most of us don't know where to begin, don't know why it's important. And absolutely, that leads to frustration. It leads to frustration because there is a process that goes into understanding and utilizing natural law to create a change. And most people are impatient on how to do that. Okay, so someone says, do you agree? Awesome. I'm glad that you're listening. You agree. Most people think it's like instant magic. Yep. 100% not instant magic either, because one of the laws is that it takes time. There's a law of gestational time period that it takes for things to manifest. So it's going to take time. That's all part of the challenge here. Now, I pulled this slide into this presentation. You guys on TikTok, you can't see my slides, and I wish you could. If you get registered for this class this afternoon, I'm going to send a replay of all of this last week's sessions, including this workbook to you so you can get it. You can click into my bio real quick and register for this. This is also streaming on YouTube, and the replays are going to go through Wednesday night, and then it's going to come down. So get registered, get the workbook. There's a link in my bio for that. This slide I pulled out that has a little circle down here on the bottom. It says, this is your comfort zone, and it's got a circle around it, meaning that the way that you think about life has everything to do with your experiences, your perception, your mindset. Okay. And you cannot perceive things outside of that bubble. You just can't. Your awareness is limited. Your experience is limited. Your life, everything happens inside of your, what I call the comfort zone. That's what we call the comfort zone. It's the bubble that we live in. And really, whenever we want anything else, every single thing that we want, and I mean everything that you want, exists outside of your comfort zone. It exists in its own sphere. This is not a Venn diagram. They do not overlap. They are two separate things, because if you had it, it would be within your sphere. It would be within your reality right now. Anything that you want because you don't have it right now. What you want exists outside of yourself, outside of your mindset, outside of your experiences. This is an abundant world that we have. We live in an abundant world. Nature is abundant. Just look around. Everything is abundant. There's an abundance of oxygen. There's an abundance of plant life. There's an abundance of clouds in the sky. There's an abundance of stars. There's an abundance of people. Everything is abundant. But most of the time, how we view the world, how most people view the world, is in lack. We allow ourselves to live in lack. And I use that word allow intentionally, because it's how we think. Excuse me, this is why I have my water. We allow ourselves to think in terms of lack. Okay? And that shapes all of our thoughts, all of our feelings, all of our attitudes. And whenever you want something, it comes from this lack. I don't have it, therefore I want it, or therefore I need it. Okay? But most of us have the mindset and the assumption that we can't get it. We can't get what we want. And therein lies the problem with the law of attraction, with getting what you want, is that when we want something and feel like we're in lack and we can't have it, that's the whole reason we don't have it. Conversations with God, this great book series by Neil Donald Walsh, calls this the sponsoring thought. The spark of desire comes from limitation and lack. And that's what we have to overcome. We have that limiting thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and that identifies how we think, how we feel. And the law of attraction works like this. You don't attract what you want. Okay? You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. You attract everything that's in alignment with who you are. And if you are living in lack, living in want, living in I cannot, okay, you are going to attract more of that into your life. Like attracts like. This is another thing to discuss right up front. Like attracts like. You attract more of who you are. This idea that opposites attract comes from a magnetic attraction, North Pole, South Pole. Opposites do not attract. We talk about it in terms of relationships. Oh, I always like the bad boy. Well, you like what you like because you like it. Okay? Because there's something inside of you that the bad boy maybe gives freedom to that you've been denying, right? It's an expression of something that you haven't been living. But like attracts like, and I'll prove it to you right now in terms of emotion, in terms of the spiritual energy that we live in. You find me one miserable person who complains and is angry and frustrated. Find me one miserable person that is hopelessly miserable, and they will not want to hang around positive people. Likewise, find me the most motivated, educated, positive person in the world, and they're not going to want to hang out with that miserable person. Opposites don't attract. We attract more of the same. It's because our mind, our heart wants homeostasis, wants everything to be the same as what we believe that world to be. We look for confirming evidence for what we believe, and in our relationships, we're attracting the same. Like attracts like. You attract not what you want, but you attract who you are. Well, who are you? And I said this earlier. So if you guys are just joining, this is the culmination of 8 days of teaching here, okay? Who are you? You are a spiritual being. And I mean this in a non-religious term as well. I made a TikTok recently about using the word universe. Why do I use the word universe instead of God? Because I want you to relate to spirit within in the most non-denominational way possible. When we talk about religion, we're talking about dividing. When we talk about spirituality, we're talking about the underlying principles that are present in most religions. When we talk about science and quantum science, we are talking about what unites us, not what divides us. So when I say you are a spiritual being, I mean that you are a massive energy. You are 99.999% energy. You are more energy than you are matter. And this is true on even a cellular level. There is space within your body. There is more space than there is stuff. And within that space is potential energy. Boy, I shouldn't have had my little diet bar just before I came on live because I'm choking here. Okay, so if your body is made of what? You could call it matter, but what is that matter made of? It's made of cells. What are those cells made of? Those cells are made of atoms and subatomic particles, and let's talk about that. If you were to take one hydrogen atom and blow the nucleus up to the size of a basketball, the nearest electron would be like 20 miles away. Okay, there is more space than stuff in any molecule. And what is within that space? It's potential energy. That potential energy is released when those atoms are split and those particles are split. Period. You are more energy than matter. So that's what I mean when I say you're a spiritual being. And you can photograph the energy coming off of a human body. You can photograph the energetic field. And when people go through mindset shifts, that field changes color, changes density, changes circumference around you. It means it expands or contracts around you. We can track all of this stuff with science. Absolutely. It's like an aura. You are an energetic being. Yoda says you're a luminous being. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. Okay. You're a spiritual being. Now you have consciousness. You have an intellect. You can think thoughts. You have a creative intellect and you have creative faculties that you can use in your conscious mind to create your reality. You can think and you can be aware of thinking. You can have metacognition, thoughts about thoughts. And you have, and I think that consciousness, that intellect is a manifestation of your soul. If you want to call it your soul, it's your soul. You can think. And right now, you and I live in this physical body. Okay? You are not your body. You're not your hand. You're not your head. You're not your organs. You're not your brain. You live in it for now. So you're a spiritual being. You have an intellect. You live in this physical body. And in there is actually housed one of these laws that all spirit works from a higher potential to a lower potential. The higher potential being non-physical, the lower potential being the physical. Spirit always manifests from non-physical into physical. Okay? And you have that in your physical body. You're a walking manifestation of spirit. And I really love how this is phrased. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, not the other way around. When you have a human, you're not a human being that's having a spiritual experience when you go to church, when you pray, when you experience flow and the law of attraction. No, you're a spiritual being and you're having a human experience. And I did have this slide in here, right? This slide that Yoda says, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. I freaking love Star Wars. Star Wars is true. I'm a geek, but I love that there are spiritual principles at play in that movie. So everything is energy. Everything in this reality is energy. It's not just me. It's not just the energy of like my picture and my audio coming onto your phone from where I'm at in Utah. It's showing up on your phone all the way around the world. That is a form of energy. I'm a form of energy. My mug here is a form of energy. My iPad is a form of energy. My computer's energy. Everything in this world is energy. Okay? Everything is energy. This goes right down to every single thing in our reality. Our entire reality is energetic. Okay? And where does that energy come from? So you're asking the question, where does the energy come from? It always is. This is one of those things. Energy is. We are not consciously aware of where energy came from. We don't know. The scientists would say energy, and this is one of the first laws of thermodynamics, energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just is. It's been here since before the world was. Energy just is, which means you as energy always have been, always will be. We change forms. Okay, now this is a whole lot deeper than what we were talking about, decision and the terror barrier and the psychological aspects of setting a goal and all of that stuff that's in the book Think and Grow Rich. This is the philosophy that's behind it. This might turn some people off or it might turn you on. Everybody comes at it differently. Okay, so you're asking the question, what's the best way to manifest? The best way to manifest is to understand how natural law works. That's it. That's why I'm going over this. Most people that talk about manifesting, they don't understand how natural law works. You've got to understand how the law works. So everything physical is energy, but everything non-physical is also energy. So this is the other point. Your thoughts are energy. You think a thought, and it has an energetic effect on your body. You can measure your thoughts with devices. You can measure the frequency of thoughts, whether good or bad, and your body moves into a higher rate of energy or a lower rate of energy. These are frequencies. These are vibrations. And I hear a lot of people say, now we're talking hippie woo-woo nonsense. If you can measure it scientifically, this isn't hippie woo-woo. You can measure your vibrations. We know that feelings of joy and abundance, enlightenment have such a high frequency that can be measured, and feelings of shame and guilt have the lowest frequencies out there. And the thoughts that we think change our frequency, high to low, low to high. The thoughts we think change our frequency. Okay, so all of your, and this is where I want you to pay attention to everything I said earlier about you don't attract what you want, attract what you are. All of your dreams, all of your wants, that exists as an energy. That's an energy. You can measure it. You can also measure it by how you feel. You feel really good when you think about your dreams. You feel really good when you think about your wants. Okay. I want to take a tangent right now. Someone's talking about religion, that religion causes negativity. Negative. No, I disagree with that. Religion doesn't cause negativity. People cause separation. Separation causes negativity. Much of our religious experience is based in proving who's right or wrong. This kind of a Bible thumping, and I come from a Christian background, so that's why I relate more to it. But I've also studied Judaism. I haven't studied a ton of Islam, but everything that I've read that aligns with this is powerful, right? People, right? We live in this physical body, so we feel like we're separated from spirit. We cause division to make ourselves feel better compared to other people. And it's that division that causes negativity. Okay, so let's get back to our thoughts. Our thoughts, if we have a dream, if we have a want, it's an energy. But guess what? If that's an energy, guess what else is an energy? You got it. All of your fears, all of your worries, all of your doubts, all of your anxiety, all your depression, that's an energy too. That's an energy. And so you have to stop and think, how am I living every day? Am I living connected emotionally, energetically to my goals, to my highest and best self? Or am I connected to my fears, worries, and doubts? There's a lot of fear in religions. Don't do this because this is sinning and this is bad and you'll be punished. There's a lot of that separation there. And we focus more on that than the unity. And that's one of the biggest problems. The book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, talks about how religions have done more to promote sin than they have to actually promote righteousness, because they focus too much on the negative. And it bears repeating again. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. How are you living on a daily basis? And if you're stuck and you're stuck in that rut, you've got to change it. You have to change how you think. Now, this entire last week has been all about that. So this is the Reprogram Your Mind class. If you haven't registered for this, please do. Click out of my live, click into my bio, get registered for it. I'm going to send a replay of this and a link to all of the other days. There are exercises in here, how to change, how to set your goals, how to shift your mindset, how to get out of fear. So you want this workbook and you want these replays, because the replays are only going to be available until Wednesday night, which is a lot of content to go through before Thanksgiving, but that's kind of how that goes. These exercises will start changing what you're attracting. Okay. Now, let's talk about The Secret. The book, The Secret, where a lot of people get the misconception that the law of attraction is magic and it gives you everything that you want right away without really changing who you are. Okay. So how does the law of attraction really work? Well, the first problem is it's not a law. Okay. It's many laws. But success happens according to law, And I actually want to pull up my mentor's book. So I'm one of Bob Proctor's top coaches. In fact, I am Bob Proctor's top coach on TikTok. I had a dear friend of mine, Troy Chadwick. If you're following me, you might know Troy as well. Troy messaged me yesterday and he's like, you need to change how you present yourself on TikTok. He didn't say that exactly, but essentially, he's right. I'm shortcutting myself. I am Bob Proctor's top coach on TikTok. Okay. I want to pull from his book, You Were Born Rich. And in here, in chapter 4, and Bob uses the word God instead of universe. In chapter 4, it's called Let Go and Let God. And he quotes this scripture. Where is it? Here it is. This scripture. And I'm just going to read right here. Now, I'm not promoting any specific religion necessarily. So I'm just going to read this chapter under Let Go and Let God, this page. For centuries, there have been a select group of people who are real thinkers. These individuals have always known there's a power which permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the cosmos, and that everything you see around you is an expression of that power. The power operates in a very precise manner, which is generally called law. In other words, everything comes from one source, and that one source always flows and works to and through the individual, that is you. Stated slightly differently, the image that you formed, your goal, your dream that you visualized, okay, that can only come to you on the physical plane of life in one way, and that is by law and through faith. The Mormon religion has a scripture in its, and Bob Proctor is not Mormon, is not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Mormon religion has a scripture and in its Doctrine and Covenants which demonstrates this point extremely well. Although I am not a Mormon myself, I have grown to love these lines. Quote, "There is a law irrevocably decreed in heaven before the foundations of this world upon which all blessings are predicated. And when we obtain any blessing from God, it is by obedience to that law upon which it is predicated. The more you study the scripture, the more you will appreciate how perfect it is, the more you understand its truth, the easier it will be for you to improve the quality of your life." Our success is a lawful process. If it works for me, it can work for you. If it can work for you, it can work for other people. Okay, success happens according to law. So it makes sense that now we need to know and understand and live within these 7 laws. What are they? In fact, Bob already mentioned the first one in here. Any success comes to and through us. The first law to talk about is the perpetual transmutation of energy. Energy is always flowing from one state into another. Okay? That is how energy works. Energy is never sitting still. It's always moving. Because there's no creating, there's no disintegrating, there's really no life and death. Everything just is, but it moves from one form into another. The energy moves through us and back out into the rest of our reality. It's called the perpetual transmutation of energy. This explains how, and I got my little acorn up here, got a little acorn, how the acorn can turn into an oak tree. So I've got a little acorn here in my hand. Okay. Where's the oak tree? Is it inside here? Is it inside here? No, it's not in here. When you think of an oak tree and how big it is and how massive it is, very clearly it doesn't come from here. If the acorn does not have the oak tree inside of it, where is the oak tree? The oak tree is in the environment. It just doesn't look like an oak tree. Your environment matters. You cannot achieve incredible things in your life when you have negative, angry, soul-sucking people in your life that criticize and doubt you. This is why we ban people like crazy on TikTok lives here, because there's a lot of people that want to come in and criticize who have zero experience with what they're talking about, and it affects the whole energy and the negativity, right? So away they go. Your environment matters because your goal is not within you. Your goal is in the environment. And if you are in frequency and in tune with that goal, you can attract what you need to it. So this is what happens with the acorn. You take the acorn and you plant it in the earth. And inside the acorn, there's a patterned plan. You can call it DNA if you want to. It's a pattern plan. It attracts to it all of the resources in the environment, all of the energy that's in harmony with that pattern plan. And as it's nourished by the earth, everything around you, everything around that acorn is attracted to it. It starts marching toward it like an obedient servant. And when those pieces of those aspects of energy, some of it matter, starts to connect, the more energy gets attracted to it, it actually comes together and it binds together and slows down and becomes physical matter. And then roots start coming out of the bottom, and then shoots come out of the top. And then that grows and continues to pull more energy to it until it combines with it in a physical form of matter. And all of a sudden, you have a tree. Over dozens and dozens of years, you have a tree that can produce its own acorns with their own pattern plan. And that is the transmutation of energy. Energy is in one form, it comes to you and becomes another form. Energy is flowing to and through you. So ask yourself, your environment, is it conducive to your goal? Especially if those people are in your family. You have to set boundaries. You have to limit how they are influencing your mind. You might have to walk away from some members of your family. You have to set boundaries because the environment matters. Now, the second law, so the first law is the transmutation of energy. Energy is always flowing and moving from one form into another. The second one is the law of gender. Now, gender has a different meaning in today's politics and world, and we don't need to get into all of that because it just doesn't matter. The law of gender, to this discussion, it doesn't matter. The law of gender states that you need two halves to make a whole. You need the acorn and the environment, right? You need a little part of mom and a little part of dad to come together to make a baby. And that it takes time. So the law of gender is not so much about male or female or the yin and yang of life that come together as it is that when they come together, it takes time to manifest. When people say, what's the best way to manifest? What they're saying is, what's the fastest way? You cannot shortcut law. It will take as long as it takes. Now, you can, and who knows how long it takes for your goal to show up? Because your goal is a spiritual seed, a spiritual version of this. We don't really know. It's taken years for some of my goals to show up. And it's taken some other desires moments to show up. And it depends on the law of gender. It depends on your environment. It depends on how you nourish it. There's a lot that you can do to lengthen the law of gender, the law of gestation. You can lengthen it with your doubts, with your worries. But the shortest possible time that it takes, you have to have faith and trust that it's going to come in that shortest possible time. Because that is universal law. When we're in the middle of getting into winter up here in the mountains, but in the springtime, when the snow melts, it finds the quickest, fastest way down the mountain, into the stream, into the river. Okay? Nature follows the fastest path possible. And sometimes that path is longer than what we would like it. It takes as long as it takes. And how do we know? Well, you've never planted this goal in your heart. I've never wanted to become a millionaire. And I'm on my way to it. I'm a heck of a lot closer I am now than I was 3 years ago when I couldn't even believe that I was even comfortable having a 7-figure goal. It is frustrating when you don't see the results. But like, I think of the Chinese bamboo tree. Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to allow that seed to germinate and grow roots. 5 years, nothing is above the water. And then all of a sudden, in about 6 weeks, it shoots up 90 feet. It didn't take 6 weeks to grow 90 feet. It took 5 years and 6 weeks. It takes as long as it freaking takes. And we live in this world of instant gratification because our awareness has developed a way to gratify many of our common desires with more speed. But when we've got to have internal changes, it takes longer, and that can be frustrated, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Next, the third law I want to mention is the law of rhythm. The law and principle of rhythm says that everything has a predictable flow. It's a cycle. Winter leads to spring, spring leads to summer, summer leads to fall. Okay. There are times when you are going to be in a high vibration and times where you're going to be in a low vibration. Everything has a cycle. When you're really high, guess what? It's probably not going to last. You can polarize yourself against that downflow, but that downflow is going to happen. There's seasons, there's times and seasons in life, and we ride those waves. And when it's high, you enjoy and you're productive and you flow. And when it's low, you know and have faith that sooner or later this low isn't going to last forever. It's going to pick back up. Everything has a cycle and flow. There's a time to plant and a time to harvest. Okay. Most of our time should be done, because the harvesting happens fast. Even if you look at the year, how the year looks, the harvesting is in a couple of weeks. You can harvest all your fields, but it can take months of preparation and months of a gestation period before you ever get to that harvest. So we realize the journey to the destination is always going to be far longer than the arrival as well, because the arrival is going to come and go like that in an instant. And so we need to start learning that the journey, the process of preparing the fields, planting the seeds, nourishing it, is where our work is. And the law of rhythm teaches us that. Now, I've mentioned the word vibration several times. Everything vibrates. Everything moves. Nothing rests. Everything that looks solid, if you took a microscope to my desk and could look with enough power, you would see that the desk is moving. There are some things that we think are solid that aren't, like windows. You look at old antique windows where it's very thick at the bottom and thin at the top and brittle at the top, because the glass is still moving. It's still moving. Everything vibrates. Everything moves. Nothing rests, because everything's energy. Magnets attract energy that's in harmony with them. And I have on the screen here, you guys can't see it. I have on the screen that I'm on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, a picture of a magnet. Now, magnetic attraction with metals, physical attraction there is different than an energetic attraction. Okay? Different than electricity. Those laws are different. But we've got a north and a south pole on this magnet. And you see these lines. These lines are the magnetic field. That's how everything moves in that magnetic field. Well, you know what? The Earth, with its poles, has an energy field that looks the exact same. It's this exact same shape of energy, of how that energy flows. You have the exact same shape of energy within you. You have that same field of energy and field of flow. We talked earlier about how you can measure that energy in vibration. You can measure the vibrations of the emotions that you're experiencing. Okay, so your whole body has that vibrational field. And what you want has a specific vibration. What you want has a specific vibration. Your job is to match the frequency of that want. How do you do that? How do you do that? The frequency and vibration that our whole body vibrates in. This is the stick person. We have our conscious mind, we have our subconscious mind, and our body. The rate of vibration that your body is in is conscious awareness of feeling, of emotion. How do you feel? The best way to manifest anything is to possess the feeling and the emotion, the vibration of what it would be like if you already had what you wanted. Which is tricky. It's a tricky game. Because I said we live in a lot of lack. Well, everything around us is abundant. We're abundant within. But the sponsoring thought for a desire is always lack. I don't have it. I want it because I don't have it. I don't think I can do it because I don't have it. I don't have it because I don't think I can do it. I don't have it. You have to change that feeling and act as if it's already happened or it's already happening. It's happening. Faith in understanding these laws and how these laws operate allows us the faith and mindset, the emotion of faith, to trust that it's already happening. It's happening. It's happening just the way that it needs to. Oh, but this obstacle came up and this thing happened and it's taking so long and I had this setback and that setback. This is apparently the way that I have to go to get from where I'm at to where I want to be. It's happening. And the more you think that it's happening, the more you'll feel that it's happening. The more you feel that it's happening, the more you're in that vibration that it's happening, the more you are just like that acorn and attracting what you want that's in harmony with that vibrational pattern. And you know what the big difference is between you and this acorn, by the way? The biggest difference is that you can change your pattern plan. The acorn can't. You can change your pattern plan. You can become whatever you want to because you have this conscious thinking mind with these 6 intellectual faculties: imagination, intuition, the will, reason, perception, memory. You have those faculties to change what your pattern plan is. And the pattern plan is buried in your subconscious mind. Your job is to create your goal and bury it in your subconscious mind and trust that the universe will work through you to create it. That's hard freaking work. Hard mental work. Because we're not trained to think this way. We don't think this way. We don't think this way, so we don't do this. Understanding these laws allows us to do it with conscious awareness, but also there's some great little tricks with these laws that we can use every single day. And one of them is the law of relativity. I got a picture of the Earth and the moon up here compared side by side. The law of relativity says that everything just is. We make it what it is by how we think and how we compare. There is no big or small. If you want to earn $1 million or you want to attract $50,000, there's no big and small. The universe doesn't say, well, that's a really big order. I don't know that I can fulfill that. God doesn't say, you're asking for something well beyond your pay range. That's not how that works. That's not how it works. There is no big or small. It's just a thought. It's just a feeling. We make it big or small based on our perception of lack and how we've been thinking. The mental work that we use is trying to use the law of relativity in our favor. Well, I'm asking for $1 million, but I suppose, yeah, that's not as big as $1 billion. Man, I really can't ask for $1 billion. So you know what? It's actually a lot easier to ask for $1 million. I use money because lack of money is the number one manifestation of lack that we all have. If you want these slides, I've got them on my YouTube channel. This replay is going to be around till Wednesday night, and then it's coming down. So if you want, you can take a look at it on YouTube for sure. So the law of relativity can help us regain our footing to realize, man, I guess I'm not really asking anything big or anything small. Right? We can use our mind and our intellectual faculties to reorient ourselves. Okay. The next law, one of the most powerful ones, I've kind of, actually, you know what? I'm missing a law. Where is that slide? Hang on. Let me look here. You know what law I'm missing? I must have accidentally deleted the slide this morning when I was changing things. Oh, let me see. No, I don't have it. So I'm going to pause that slideshow for just a second here. One of the laws is the law of polarity. I used it in another slide earlier this last week. The law of polarity says that opposites are a thing. Opposites exist. On this physical realm, everything is really only one thing. Everything's really only one thing. But on this physical realm, it manifests as duality, as two things. So there's an up and there's a down. There's rich and there's poor. There's health and vitality, and there's dis-ease. There's fast and there's slow. There's in and there's out. There's light and there's dark. Polarity exists in all things. This is one of my favorite mental exercises to use that helps with manifestation. When things happen, again, there's no good, there's no bad, there's no big, there's no small. Everything just is. Everything just is. But there's good and bad in all things. And so when something happens that's an obstacle, let me mirror my camera real quick on here so you guys on TikTok can read this. Okay, read that. It is what it is. Accept it. When a situation happens, it is what it is. You can't change it. Even the subtitle here says it's either going to control you or you will control it. Those are two polar opposites. Okay. Number 2, harvest the good. There's good and bad in everything. Seek and you will find. Find the good in it. Find what helps you move forward. There's good and bad in all situations. And this will piss some people off. I talked with one woman who, she had probably more challenges in her life than, well, not than most. No, they were different. They were severe. And I've worked with some people with some horrific things that have happened in their life. And hers were definitely horrific. And she heard me talking about gratitude. The Science of Getting Rich has an entire chapter on gratitude, where he says in there, Wallace Wattles writes, cultivate an attitude of gratitude for every good thing in your life. And because all things have contributed to your development, you should include all things in your gratitude, even the negatives. Even the negatives. Okay? She couldn't accept that. She said, there is no good in what happened to me. I have to disagree. Natural law says that you have to disagree. She's been wildly successful because she's fought against all those negative things, and she had to recover a sense of self-confidence and self-worth, and she had to rise above those things. You see, when we have a trial or we have a challenge, we feel like I'm soaring, I'm improving so much, and something happens and it pushes us down, and we say, well, if it wasn't for this big trial that just dropped on my head, I would be so much further ahead than where I am right now. Instead of, maybe that's the very thing that comes into your life to get you to rise above it, to get you to climb that, to grow. There is good and bad in all things, period. But you have to look for it. You have to look for it. And then follows up by the third thing here: forgive the rest. Forgiveness means to let go of, completely abandon, release. You have to let go of the negative. There's going to be positive and negative throughout your entire life. Your job is to be hyper-focused in seeking and locking onto the good things. And if you can keep your mind focused on the good things, when the law of rhythm comes and those swings come down, you can polarize yourself against that drop. You can not drop at all. But it takes a lot of mental work and mental energy. It takes a lot of reprogramming your mind, which, if you don't have the worksheets, again, get registered in the live or in my bio. Okay. I want to spend, well, not maybe even more time, because I've spent a lot of time on each of these, but I definitely want to be spending some more time on this next law, the law of cause and effect. This says that everything has an equal and opposite reaction to it. What you send out comes back to you. Now, this doesn't mean that you send good out and bad comes back to you. That would be a double opposite, right? I send good out and the universe changes it to negative and sends negative back to me. That's a double negative. That doesn't make any sense. If I send good out, good comes back to me. Law of cause and effect. That's what we mean by an equal and opposite reaction. The amount of good you give determines the amount of good you receive. Well, kind of, actually. Let me explain a little bit more. Okay. Now, the law of cause and effect has many names. We might call it the law of karma, right? What you send out comes back to you. We might call it the law of the harvest, right? Whatever you plant, whatever seeds you plant grow. If you plant seeds of worry, fear, and doubt and lack, guess what grows? Worry, fear, doubt, and lack. You plant abundant goals, guess what you get in return? You harvest abundance. Okay? You reap what you sow. And there's 5 aspects to this law that are absolutely critical that you understand. Number 1, the law is positive. If I plant positive, I reap positive. You plant carrots, you get carrots. If I plant in my subconscious mind greater health, wealth, happiness, you get health, wealth, happiness in return. You plant positive things, you get positive things. You also plant negative things, right? You plant negative. You doubt that this works. You're going to feel like it doesn't work. You're going to take action like it doesn't work. If you think it's pseudoscience BS, well, that's how you're going to feel and what you're going to believe, and your actions are going to show that. You think I'm on here to scam you or I'm a fraudster? Those are your thoughts. You get emotionally involved with those ideas, you're going to want to criticize and tear me down, and you're certainly never going to work with me, and you're going to discourage everybody else from doing the same. If you believe in this material and you apply it and you embrace it emotionally, it comes back to you. Whatever you plant in your subconscious mind comes back to you. It's a process. It's a law. It works consistently. One of the most beautiful aspects is that this law is abundant. Abundant. Whatever you plant comes back to you 100-fold. And we see that in nature. You take a handful of corn and you plant it, and you get, out of however many of those seeds actually end up germinating and growing into a single plant, how many ears of corn come off of that? How many seeds are on each ear of corn? It's 100-fold. But if you sow to the wind, you reap the whirlwind. Whatever you put out comes back to you. This is why Gary Vee, and it took me years to really fall in love with that man. When he talks about haters, he sends a lot of love to them. He said, how awful would it be to feel so terrible about yourself that you've got to tear everybody else down with you? I feel really bad for you. And so hopefully when we block or we ban people on here, we really try to, I at least try to send it away with love. Because I know whatever I send out comes back to me in greater abundance. That's the beautiful thing. Your goal, when it shows up, will be far more magnificent and emotionally satisfying than you could possibly imagine. Because the law is abundant. Now, there are many ways to sow. There's many ways that you could, let's say, earn more income. There's many ways that you could serve the world. There's many different talents that you have that you could grow and expand to be a blessing for your life, your family's life, and the people around you. There's so many ways to do it. There's not only one way to be successful. There are probably millions of ways of being successful. There are so many ways to sow, and anybody can do it. This law doesn't just work for Todd because he's a white guy and trained by Bob Proctor. This works for everybody around the world. You all have a mind. You're a spiritual being. You have a mind. You live in this physical body. You have the ability to change everything about your reality. Anybody can do it. My kids have manifested things. Okay? Everybody can do it. That's the beauty of this information, is that everybody can do it. Once you learn how to use it, once you learn how to reprogram your mind, and you get the help and support and strategy that you need, anybody can do it. Now, the truth is that you could do it and still lose. And there's a story Jim Rohn tells all the time, or did tell all the time, or commonly, of a farmer who goes out and plants his crops. And he's a good man. He helps his neighbors. He's spiritual or religious. He works his land. He's a hard worker, treats his family right, treats others fairly. And he labors over his crops all season long, and he's ready to reap the harvest. And he deserves every single bit of all of his hard work. And just before the harvest, a storm comes and destroys all of his crops. What did he do wrong? Nothing. Nothing. It's the rules of the game. Now, I believe because that happened, because that was negative, that was a negative event, there must be positive in there if he finds it. There must be a way that that can help him. I don't believe that nature or God or spirit is unfriendly to our plans and our desires. I believe it wants us to have what we have. But sometimes things unexpected happen. You could lose. You could lose. But here's the biggest one. If you don't sow, you can't reap. If you don't take the action that you need to, you are not entitled to the results. Period. If you don't take daily effort to reprogram your mind, you will not achieve your goal. You can't shortcut the law. There is a price to pay for everything. There is a cost for everything. One of the things that I've realized is to get over this sense of lack, you have to let go of what it is that you want more of. Most of the time. Most of the time that comes down to money. Most of us want more money. Guess what? This idea that it takes money to make money is true when you look at it with the law. You have to give what you want to receive back. So when I invest in, and I've invested in all kinds of marketing programs, and I've invested in different kinds of business coaching, and I've made a lot of investments, and not all of them have returned for various reasons. But the investment that always has returned has been the investment that I've made in myself, hiring coaching and mentors, because of how this law works. So I've made investments in marketing coaches that have paid zero results in return, that have actually, I thought they had the right mindset and didn't. And then I have invested in myself because I can control me and I can control understanding this. And it is your mind that attracts your results, not something external. And anytime that I've invested money in me, it's come back 100-fold. 100-fold. But if you don't sow, you can't reap. Period. These are the 7 laws that make up the laws of attraction. So the question is, why isn't it working for you? Why doesn't it work? Well, maybe you've been ignorant of the laws to be able to use it. But here's the thing. Your paradigm, your subconscious mind, the program that you have in your heart, if your paradigm is a program of I can't, if you believe I can't do it, or you don't have control over your conscious mind, then guess what? All of your action is going to be filled with that same vibration that I can't receive. Because I can't do, I can't receive. Conversations with God says that God has a limited vocabulary, or that the universe always says yes. I can't do it. In all of your action comes across as I can't receive, and God says yes. Yep, you're right. You can't receive. Because it is the paradigm that we have in our subconscious mind that's the cause of that vibration, of that energy, of that intention, of that sponsoring thought. And it's also the cause of all of your results. It's the paradigm that's the cause. By the law of cause and effect, it is your vibration that creates a harmonious reaction. And that vibration could be what you don't want, but in harmony with I don't want is, I don't want more of this. The vibration causes a harmonious reaction and gives us what we just referred to as results. It's the paradigm that's manifesting for us. It's a program. Some people have a program called smoking. Some people have a program called stealing. Some people have a program called lying. Some people have a program called laziness. Some people have a program called poverty. Some people have a program called failure. And some people have programs called success. Some people have programs called thriving. Some people have programs called prosperity. Some people have programs called vitality. Some people have programs, and it is the program that creates your life. It's the program that creates your life. It's your mindset. There's a great father-daughter duo that I see on TikTok and videos all the time. This black father that's teaching his little girl who's like 4 years old to do acrobatics, right? And do flips and do all of this stuff. And there's a TikTok I saw just recently of this guy teaching his daughter how to do a backflip, and she's falling on her face and she starts crying. And he says, that crying is not helping you. And he's doing it in a loving way, but he's saying, you've got to stop crying because you're focused on, I can't. He points to her head. He says, if you think you can't, you won't. Gets her to calm down and then do the flip, and she sticks the landing. And she's emotional about doing it, goes over and gives him a big hug. But he says, this is how important mindset is. Mindset. Where is your mind set? Is it set to prosperity and abundance, or is it set to struggle? Where is your mind set? Mindset is the challenge behind everything. It's also the biggest opportunity. This really is a black or white deal. If you don't change that programming, if you don't change that paradigm, everything remains the same in your life. You have to build a new model. And I'll end here with this quote. Buckminster Fuller says, we need to build a new model of success. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. This is why I am not as politically active as I used to be. And in fact, I was active in both parties at different times and seasons of my life. It's all about fighting reality. It's all about forcing someone else to do something different. And the beginning comments about law of attraction being capitalist, this is where you could see some parallels. I am done fighting reality. I am ready to build a new model that makes the old one obsolete. Stop fighting against yourself and start using your mind to build a new model of reality that makes the old one obsolete. That is what mindset work is all about. That's what it's all about. Mindset is the secret to success. In fact, one of my dear friends has said this, and my mentor, Bob Proctor, now says it all the time. He says that success is 95% mindset and only 5% strategy. Yet most coaches out there are teaching almost 100% strategy. Right? It's hilarious. Strategy has very little to do with it. You can have the same strategy that succeeds with one person fails with another. What's the difference? The difference is the paradigm. The difference is vibration. The difference is awareness. And then I also love how there's business coaches that also do mindset, right? Richie, I think I saw in an email that you had shared with Carolyn, I'll speak to you, that you've got a marketing coach that also does mindset. Well, that's like going to a general practitioner for brain surgery, right? If you have goals, if you have a business and you want to have major success, it is the mindset that needs to shift first. It's the foundation for everything. And so I'm going to wrap up here. This has gone far longer because I love this topic so darn much. I talk about it a lot. But if you want to take this further, if you listen to this, if you've gone through the whole class, first off, actually, if you just found me here all of a sudden, so you said, my mind is strong, I can't fight it. That is nonsense. Your mind is weak because you haven't exercised it. I can't go bench press 300 pounds because my muscles aren't strong enough. Your mind is just as strong as everybody else's if you train it right. So if you're new to this, get registered for the workshop. This is the last day of teaching. get registered. I'll send you this in let's say 30 minutes time. I'll send you a replay of this event with replays of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week. You'll actually get 7 days of replays. You'll get the worksheets. Go through this. The replay's only up through Wednesday night. And if you are interested in moving forward, if you want to have a conversation about what coaching looks like and what I can do to help you, please let me know. There's a QR code on the screen of YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. You can scan this with your phone and book a call right now. If you've been in contact with a masterclass mentor with Carolyn or Jennifer or myself during this week, please reach out to us. Let's schedule a call. If you're brand new and you want to have a conversation, the links are in my bio here. You click into my name and get into my bio, and there is a link to register for the class. There's a link to book a discovery call if you want to. And I am giving away, by the way, a library of books. I'm giving away a bunch of books, and this will be the last thing, and then I've got to close off of here. Where are all these books? And I had one more. Oh yeah, because I pulled it over. The Science of Getting Rich. Okay, so I'm going to give you an instant library. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, written in 1910. U Squared by Price Pritchard. This is an amazing book about a quantum leap. You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. You can't find this book. I should be selling these on Amazon, because on Amazon it's like $50 for this book. I can sell it far less than that. So You Were Born Rich, which I read a little bit from. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. This book is freaking amazing. Psycho-Cybernetics, about self-image psychology. You've got to change your relationship and viewpoint with yourself if you're ever going to change any results. I'm also going to send you a copy of the seminal classic, You Were Born Rich, and send that to you as well. I'm also, whether you sign up for 6 months or a year to work with me, I'm giving away a whole bonus 6 weeks of coaching. It's like almost 2 extra months of coaching, with a second program that focuses on teaching you all of your mental faculties of how you think. Your imagination, your intuition, your will, your reasoning, your perception, your memory, how you use those tools. So there's a whole nother little program for that one. And that coaching, if you're interested in it, have a conversation with me, Jennifer, Carolyn, and let's talk about what it's like. Don't go into this being afraid if it's not going to work. Come to it and ask questions. I'll tell you, here's where most people get hung up on this. They either think I'm full of crap and I'm scamming. And if you believe that, that's fine. If you believe that, you probably didn't stick around the whole time. If you think I'm full of crap, that's cool. That's not a big deal. If you think I'm just out here for a money grab and I'm going to run away and leave and not give you value in return, that's okay. You can think that way. I actually give far more value in return. But you might think that way. You might think, oh, he's just doing this to sell his programs. No, I'm doing this to sell you on yourself. This is the program, and this coaching that I do changed my life. It took me from earning $35,000 a year to earning more than that sometimes in a week. You know, I've more than 10x'd my income doing this. How? By understanding these laws. I've seen it change my life. Okay. I know that it changes lives. What I'm trying to sell you on is you, on your goals, on your dreams, that you can have the life that you want, that you can create it. And tomorrow, I'm not going to stream it on TikTok, unfortunately. No, I don't know that there's a way that we could do it. Maybe we can. Probably not. Maybe we can. Anyways, I'm going to be using 2 different platforms. It might be difficult to do, but I'm going to have 2 client interviews tomorrow. I'm going to speak with one woman, Devin, in the morning at 11 o'clock Eastern time. And then I think it's going to be 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to speak with Josh and Heidi, who were on here a couple days ago. Josh quit his job. This is really amazing. Josh quit his job working in maintenance to be a full-time artist. And he got into NFTs, and now him and his wife are helping direct and produce NFT, the movie that's going to debut at Sundance. Right? Devin is going to talk tomorrow about, she had her own dance choreography business that took a hit in obviously the pandemic. That business not only has grown, but now she has another full-time job doing crazy things. I'll let her tell you about it. And she attracted it based on this information. She just shut up and did the work to reprogram her subconscious mind and allow the universe to come in and help her. Okay. So I'm going to have those 2 interviews tomorrow. If you feel like you don't have enough money, if you feel like you are suffering with lack and limitation, that's usually part of the biggest barrier people have for doing this. Because it is an expensive investment in ourselves for a couple of reasons. 1, to get you to do the work. 2, to get you to start living in abundance. But I am willing to figure out ways to make it work. Because here's what I believe. If you believe that this is going to work for you, if you feel like I can help you, if you feel like I can present things to you in a way that will cause you to change how your mind works and then change your results, the money shouldn't be an obstacle. It should be there. It might require some faith. It might require you to get outside of that comfort zone. That might be scary, but that's what you need. You need a major energetic shift to break out of the hypnotism that you're in with your current life. For me, that was my investment. $35,000 a year. My wife was on disability, my 3 kids, my mortgage. I couldn't pay for it all. And yet I still paid 1/7 of my annual income and paid $5,000 to hire a coach in cash. And I manifested the money to do it. I saw the miracle work. That gave me the faith to work the program. That gave me the faith to come to my coaching sessions. That changed everything. And this was years ago, 2016. And here I am now, Bob Proctor's top consultant on TikTok, reaching out to you, and you might have stumbled across me, and you might not know me from Adam, or maybe you've been following me since I jumped on last year. If it resonates with you, I'd love to help you. But here's where most people have the biggest hang up. And this is why I want you to book a call and ask the question. I bet you don't think I'm scamming you. I bet you believe in this information. I bet you know that I'm going to give you the value. I bet you probably believe the program's going to work. I bet you believe you could even find the money. You don't necessarily believe it can work for you. That's where I was. I doubted that it could work for me. We are intimately familiar with our own flaws and frailties and our own failures, that we tend to devalue our potential. And on the opposite side of that, we see someone's best moments and highest achievements and success and say, of course they can do what they could do. I can't because I'm broken, but of course they could because they are perfect. We undervalue ourselves. And that's the whole reason why we're stuck. So book the call and ask the question, will this work for me? It's going to be based on your effort. Arlene, if you're watching, it's based on your effort. I think you know that. And actually, Arlene, if you're watching, I'd love for you to just ask yourself this question. Some of the other things like the Amazon course, to be a drop shipper, the VA, did it inspire you? Did it touch some emotional reservoir in your heart? Because that's what you need. You need something to break the force of the energy from around you. You need this to touch your heart and shake you out of your current mindset, because that's where the problem is. And you need to have it shake you out of that enough to take a risk to get outside of that comfort zone, because everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. You need something just to shake you awake. And hopefully that's what these events do. That's what a conversation with someone else does. And that's what the investment does. It shakes you away from your life. And it is the perfect signal to the universe of your intentions to not go back to living the same way. I'm going to end with the final story. Okay. When I left my job, it took me about a year to triple my income. A little bit more than that, to be honest. But it took me 5 months the following spring to earn my old annual income in those 5 months period of time. It was amazing. And I had a conversation with someone on Bob Proctor's team, about becoming a consultant, where I am now. And you know, the funny thing was, I got scared about the investment, even though I understood the material. I'd never spent that kind of money before. They wanted a $5,000 down payment. It cost me like $32,000 to become a consultant. Anyways, I got hesitating, and Jacqueline, I was on the phone with Jacqueline McKenzie. Jacqueline said, I want you to think right now about the signal you're sending to the universe based on my decision. I went, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm a little trapped now. Because you're right. I'm thinking of doubt, worry, fear, and lack, and I don't want to do that. I've had, being a Bob Proctor consultant and being one of his top consultants on my vision board for years, since 2016. So it's been a year and a half. Here's the opportunity. Am I going to walk away from it? No. I'm like, you're right. I want to send a clear signal to the universe. So I jumped in and made my investment. I wouldn't be here now if I didn't go through that. So I want you to take all this information. If you're ready to book a call, book a call. If you just found me, wait till about a half hour, 45 minutes when I send the replay email so you can go through the workbook. And then book a call. And let's chat after Thanksgiving here. Let's chat about what it looks like for you. And let's make that decision based on your faith, based on your confidence that it's going to come back to you. Say, I'm going to wrap up. Richie, you're watching on YouTube. Tomorrow morning, we are going to have the interviews. Okay. So tomorrow, Tuesday, the interviews are going to be at 11 Eastern. Okay. And then 1:00 p.m. Eastern. I've got Devin, then I've got Josh and Heidi. And then I also have the replays are going to be up until Wednesday night at midnight. Okay, so I'm going to broadcast the interviews live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. I'm going to try and find a way to do it on TikTok. That might be a challenge. But then you can see the replay. So get registered so you have that. And then the replays are going to come down in the evening. Okay, they're going to come down Wednesday night. Okay. I will make sure that the books and the bonuses for coaching are in the email today. Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And Spencer, you bet your ass he did. Thank you so much for being here. This is one of my favorite things for me to share are these laws of attraction and how it works. It is powerful stuff. We're not programmed and taught this way. This is why this studying is so valuable. It is so valuable. It's the most important information in the world. And if I go back to the beginning here, I'll pull this slide down. The beginning of this, I said, most people are waiting for the world to change, to force reality to change outside of us. The most powerful quote that I believe I've heard in any of this material is that instead of fighting existing reality, you build a new model, a new belief system, a new paradigm and program of reality that makes the old one obsolete. This material allows everybody to take control of their mind, their life, and their results and their reality to shape it to be what they want it to be. Thank you, everybody. I've loved this last week. I'm probably not having another event until January. So have a happy holiday season. If you want to move forward, book a call and do that now as I knock things over. Take care, everybody. Email's going to come out with a replay and the workbook here in about 45 minutes. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We'll see you again next time. Bye.